How do you turn a speaking career from a financial drain into a thriving six-figure business? How do you go from unpaid speaking engagements to stages to traveling around the country to working with Fortune 500 companies? How do you turn a negative $27,000 loss in 2023 to a six-figure gain in 2024? In this episode of the Speak with People podcast, we're going to talk about the highs, we're going to talk about the lows, we're going to talk about everything in between. I know some of you are like, why would you tell us? Because I want to be extremely vulnerable with you. I want you to see the journey. I want you to be along for the ride. And I want you to know it's not easy at all. If you dream of becoming a full-time speaker, this episode is for you. If you dream of becoming a speaker as a side hustle, this episode is for you. If you're an entrepreneur, a business owner, a solopreneur, an entrepreneur, this episode is for you because we're going to talk about how to build a business, how to grow a business, and we're going to dive into the tools and the skills, the fortitude, the resilience, the kick in the ass you're going to need in order to make a splash, in order to make an impact, and in order to do something that is profitable. So let's break down the strategies. Let's go into the habits, the tools, the mindsets that help me help speak with people transform this passion into a profit. Well, welcome to the Speak with People podcast. My name is Jason Raitz. I'm the host. Today, I'm also the guest, and I'm going to walk you through this journey over the last year. Every week, I get probably 1 to 3 emails, texts, phone calls, Facebook messages from business leaders, from people who want to be speakers, who want to get on stages, who want to present in a more captivating way in front of the room, who want to close more sales, and who someday want to go into full-time speaking. And they are emailing me, and I'm honored because I'm emailing people as well who are 7 steps farther than I am. And I'm asking them, how can I get there? And so I want to take you behind the scenes today, a little BTS, because every once in a while I get messages from people and they're like, wow, it just looks amazing what's happening with Speak with People. And I'm like, yes, it is amazing. But if you could see the behind the scenes, uh, climb up the hill, then get knocked down by a boulder, then climb back up, and then get knocked down by a rock slide, and then climb back up, and then get knocked down by an avalanche, you would know that it is so difficult, but it is so incredibly worth it on the other end, because not only do I get to live out my dream, there is nothing like it for me to stand on stages and to motivate people, to inspire people, to challenge people, to encourage people. And there is nothing better for me than to be a part of the transformation process that's happening in leaders. I know in my own life, it has been speakers from stages that have helped be a catalyst for my transformation, probably the biggest. And I know some of you are going to you're already disagreeing. You're like, oh my goodness, it's the one-on-one connections, it's the mentoring, it's the coaching. Yes, those have been extremely phenomenal. But for me, it has been sitting in a room, uh, going through the sacrifice to get to their room, getting my head in the right space, sitting in the seat, picking the right seat, taking the notes, leaning in, being captivated by what the speaker's talking about, and then acting on the challenge and the transformation that I received. And I want to hopefully do that. Speak with People wants to do that in every single room that we go into in 2025 and beyond. That's hopefully what we've been doing in 2022, 2023, 2024. We want to create a training that sticks. We want to create keynote speaking that spurs on life change and transformation. Here's the reality. I'm a funny guy. I can get up on stage. I can tell a bunch of stories, make you laugh. I could probably even make you cry. And I could tickle all of the heartstrings. That's great. That's great. But at the heart of it, I'm not an entertainer. At the heart of it, I'm a transformationalist. I want to see you change your life. And, I define success differently. Like, success to me is not, purely having a profitable business. Success to me is purely not having a booked up, speaking calendar. Success to me is not just being a published author. Success, first and foremost, is knowing who created me and honoring my creator. Success then is living a life that honors my creator. Success is being there for my family. Like, I've worked hard not to be a distant dad, and success there is to be there for my wife. And then on top of that, yes, I want to build a business that becomes a movement in this country, in this world. I mean, a movement. Speak with People, not at them, is more than just a nice little cute phrase. It is, we know it's going to be a powerful movement. And someday you're going to be driving down a highway in Dallas and you're going to look up and you're going to see the billboard that says speak with people, not at them. And it's going to be a reminder to you that you can change the way that you communicate. You don't have to communicate out of fear. You don't have to communicate out of control. You don't have to speak down to people and manipulate them and be passive aggressive. You can communicate out of trust and collaboration. And you can communicate in a way that draws people in. And then you can use your words. You can use every part of your communication package that you've been given, all the communication disciplines to breathe life into people. So, wow, I just gave you the giant vision for Speak with People, but this is what's on the line. This is why we keep going. This is why at the end of 2023, when I knew we had a negative $27,000 loss, I didn't give up. I didn't give up. I wanted to, be honest, I wanted to. There was moments where I thought, oh my goodness, can I go get a job at Chick-fil-A? Can I get a job, somewhere? But I had to keep going. I had to keep going. I had to keep pressing because this is a giant calling. The giant calling for me is to be a leader that encourages, inspires, empowers other leaders to transform. And do I do that successfully all the time? Absolutely not. Do some events go, grand slam? Yes. Do some events, I just get a single? Yes. All the people that I know in my life, if they were to line up, would they all say that Jason is a grand slam with his communication? No. There are some people that would tell you they've been hurt by my communication, but that's the reality. We're all human. And that's why I want to keep encouraging leaders. So, what is that for you? Because I can tell you this in 2023, why we did not succeed. And in some ways, we did succeed. We built a foundation. We started to figure out who we were. I had to go through this season of struggling with my identity because I didn't know who I was anymore. 26 years, I did the same career. And then all of a sudden, I'm doing a different career. I'm in different rooms. I'm playing at different speeds. I always worked for nonprofits, and now I've got to work for a profit. And I've got financial partner that I've got to make money and pay them back, and I've got to make money to support my family. And so, it was a difficult year trying to figure it out. And something happened. Something happened. I was in Alabama, Grand Point, Alabama. I was at the Grand Hotel, gorgeous hotel. I mean, just spectacular. And my back locked up. My back locked up in a way that scared the life out of me. It locked up, and I thought I was going to fall over in front of the room I was about to present to. And I did not know if I was going to be able to stand back. I didn't know if I was going to be able to continue standing. And if I fell over, I didn't know if I was going to be able to get up. And that moment scared me. And I thought, I can get through this. I can do this. I can absolutely get through this. And everything in me wanted to quit. And then we went through the training and we got done. And 2 hours later, a financial advisor from Louisiana walks up to me and he's just like, man, I got to tell you, I've known that I've had to work on my communication skills for a long time, but this was the kick in the pants that I needed. This was the reminder that I have everything that I need within me and I can do a better job with this. I can become a stronger, more effective leader with my communication. And that was it. Like that was the moment where I was like, okay, you got to plow forward. And up until that moment, the fall of 2022, 2023, Speak with People, we were trying to do everything. I was trying to speak at churches. I was trying to speak at schools because I used to speak at schools. I was trying to speak in the corporate world. I was trying to speak for salespeople. I was trying to speak for accountants, and everything that I read, specifically Grant Baldwin's book, The Successful Speaker. If you've never read this book, I would highly recommend it. Yes, if you're watching YouTube, you're wondering why is there no, book jacket cover. Well, I take the covers off. But The Successful Speaker, maybe someday Grant will send me a signed one. I don't know. We'll just see. It would be absolutely fantastic if I could get a signed copy from Grant Baldwin. But I was reading this book, I don't know, 5 years ago. I don't know when it came out, 7 years ago. And if you go through my book, it's highlighted. It's just all ripped up. And he talks in here, you've got a niche down. You've got a niche down, whichever way you say it. Potato, tomato, Jeff, like Nate Bargatze talks about. You got a niche down. And a door opened for me through a leader I've talked about on this podcast before. He's become a dear friend. He's a great partner. We've done incredible things together. We're going to continue to do incredible things together. His name is Dan Cianci. And he offered me an opportunity. he offered me an opportunity to begin doing more speaking and training in the financial professional world, specifically on the investment side, some with licensed bankers. Never in a million years did I think I would go from preaching in a church on Sundays to leading, 1,000 kids in an assembly, talking about how their words matter. And then now talking to financial advisors, financial executives, financial professionals, licensed bankers, and hopefully challenging them with the thought that when you continue to improve your communication skills, the ripple effects as you build deeper levels of trust, your connections strengthen, which then transform your business because you get a higher level of referrals, your revenue skyrockets, and people want to do business with you. They just want to do business with you when you're a great communicator. And so that's what happened. I went from trying to do all of these things, all of these things, all of these things. We're coaching public speakers, and I'm speaking over here, and I'm over here. And then I just niche down, and come February 2024, I found myself in a cabin up in the Smoky Mountains in Tennessee. 8 other entrepreneurs. This group of people really challenged me to niche down, and then that was it. I mean, from there, literally, I started working on a signature message for financial advisors, and that signature message skyrocketed. And so for me, that was it. I had to what do you call it when you've had to redo yourself, right? I had to reinvent myself. I had to reinvent myself. Because forever I was Jason the church speaker, and then I was Jason the public school speaker. And now I'm Jason the corporate speaker. And on my goal vision board in my office, every day it has it on there as a reminder that I am becoming a sought after corporate speaker and keynote speaker for financial professionals and the financial services world. Like I want to be at that place where the phone rings. And the problem is many speakers are at the place where they just hope the phone rings. Look at that branding, right? Like, I mean, come on, right? Like you got it on the phone, got it on the shirt. We need it on the wall behind me. We just hope the phone rings. And let me just tell you, friends, the phone is not going to ring. You have to do the work. You have to put in the work. And you have to answer the who, what, how, why, and when. Like who do I speak to? I had to do all the hard work for that. I speak to primarily leaders who work one-on-one with clients, who build a book of business with actual people. So financial advisors, licensed bankers, investment specialists, insurance agents, the hospitality world, the customer service where you're dealing one-on-one. And so that's the who do I want to speak to, the why, because I want to help them learn how to tear down the walls of their communication style so they can build trust, they can build connection, and then that gives them an amazing amounts of referrals and revenue. The why do I do it? Because I want them to succeed. I'm obsessed with their success. And I want them to know what it's like to connect so thoroughly one-on-one when you put people first, communication first. And what do I speak on? I speak on healthy and effective communication skills. How do I do it? I do it through a couple different ways. I have a couple different signature messages. And so I had to get through that. I had to get to that part. But here's my journey. Let me go through the journey, basically 5 steps. That was my introduction. Let's rock in the 5 steps. The first one, hit the reality check. Already told you about that. Got to the place where nothing was succeeding. We were having like minimal success every once in a while. And that was the early mistakes that I made. I did not niche down. I wanted to speak on everything for everyone. So if you're going to turn around your speaking this year, if you're going to launch out your speaking, get crazy focused. Get absolutely focused on what you're talking to. I mean, those harsh lessons really helped me rethink my strategy. And the reality is you don't build a business on passion alone. Strategy turns passion into profit. Let me say that again. You don't build a business on passion alone. Strategy turns passion into profit. My coach, business coach Terry Weaver says, if you're not making money, it's a hobby. You're just doing a hobby. And that's the absolute truth. You've got to have a strategy on how you're going to earn money. Do you know your customer journey? Do you know the funnel of how you get people interested in you and then all the way down to a customer? You've got to know those kind of things. So what's your reality check? Look at it on paper. Look at it on black and white paper. know exactly where you're at, and stop telling yourself, that you don't have to niche down. Figure out a niche and run with it. Go to it. Figure it out. I had a speaker call me a couple weeks ago. They want me to help them, and I'm like, who's your target audience? What's problem are you solving? What's the exact problem that you're providing a solution? Because people will pay you money if you take their pain away. That's what they'll do. They'll pay you money. And as a speaker, you've got to provide content that just is a giant Dyson vacuum, which, by the way, over 5,000 attempts before Dyson got it right for his vacuum cleaner? 5,000 attempts. Do you know that there's something like 750,000 podcasts on Apple Podcasts that only have 7 episodes and then they gave up? Do you know how many speakers give up because the phone never rings? Do you know how many? A lot. You can't give up. You've got to keep going, especially if you know the problem you solve is going to be instrumental in transforming people's lives. So have your reality check. Call me up, 989-954-4150. Email me, jason@speakwithpeople.com. I'll have a reality check with you. I'll ask you the extremely hard questions because I want you to succeed. And I'm just not going to fluff you up and pat you on the behind if you want to be a successful speaker. The reality is my phone doesn't ring enough, and that's on me. My inbox is not filled enough, and that's on me. I have to do a better job prospecting. And so get a reality check. I'm going to recommend a lot of books this episode. I'm going to have them all in the show notes. I'm reading this book right now, Fanatical Prospecting, salesgravy.com. Jeb Blunt, I'm hoping to have Jeb on the podcast in 2025. Jeb, if you ever listen to this, I hope that you will consider being on the podcast. Be awesome, be incredible. But here's the reality. I need to do a better job of prospecting. I was driving yesterday for about 5 hours, and I just listened to as many of Jane Atkinson's The Wealthy Speaker podcast episodes as I possibly could. I listened to this episode that blew me away when it came to how I, as a speaker, have to sell myself. Again, have the reality check. The phone is just not going to ring. You have to help it ring. You have to present yourself, sell yourself, tell the story of how you solve your audience's problems in a way that people just have to have you at their event. That's number one, the reality check. Number two, you got to pivot. You got to find the formula for your success. And I'm just more convinced that the formula is different for everyone. There's not the same formula for everybody. It's not the same. Now, yes, if you want to start out as a speaker, I would tell you a few things. One, you got to figure out your signature message. You've got to. You've got to figure out what sets you aside. And it's got to be equal parts your passion, something that you just bleed, something that just flows out of you. Another equal part, it's got to solve a giant problem for people. I think another equal part, it's got to be persuasive. I'm an incredible motivational, encouragement, informational speaker. Like I'm incredible that way. I'm becoming more of a persuasive, you got to do this right now kind of speaker, because that's ultimately what helps get the phone to ring and gets you booked. So you got to have the signature message. You've got to understand what that is, who your target audience is, who exactly is your target audience. For me, I figured it out. It's a 35-year-old financial advisor. It's a 42-year-old financial advisor who works for Fifth Third or Truist Wealth or Huntington Bank or one of those investment services. And they're looking to grow their business. They're looking to connect so profoundly and so strongly with their clients because their communication is so high level that those clients tell their friends and family. And so that's for me, that's my target audience. That's who I'm trying to connect with. And all the resources and tools. If you go through the Speak with People website, we have a million different resources and tools for that financial advisor. We have a great PDF called How to Unlock Your Client Story, 40 of the best questions to ask your clients, because those questions unlock the genius in their story. And once you know their genius and you know their dream, then a financial advisor can succeed. See, that's my area. That's my niche. What's yours? You've got to figure that out. Then once you know that, yes, you have to have a website. And it cannot suck, okay? It cannot. Do not just slap up a GoDaddy site. Get a decent website. For me, I would say 100% go to Kajabi.com. I'll put the show link. I'll actually put my affiliate link. I would love if you would go and put my affiliate link in with Kajabi. It's all for one. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say go Kajabi or go high level. I wish the two kind of merged into one. I think Kajabi is better at some areas, and I know go high level is a lot better at a lot of areas. Either one, Kajabi or go high level. Go between the two. You've got to figure it out. Then from there, get a website up. Then start creating lots of assets. Fill your blog with different blog posts about what you speak about so the SEO starts to find you. Get a one sheet done. Hire a graphic designer. In the other room back here, I've got a 20-year-old graphic designer who, for the right price, will design you an incredible one sheet. He'll also design your website if you want, but it's got to be for the right price. Years ago, I'm going to throw some people under the bus. I introduced him to some pastor friends, and they immediately just wanted to go uber cheap. And it was really obnoxious, and it was really embarrassing. And so no longer. His time and what he produces is at such a high level that if you want him to do work for you, we would love for that. Zach, Z-A-C-H, at speakwithpeople.com. Again, if you got to be serious because he's going to produce the right stuff. Website, one sheet, start putting up resources that way. And then start filling your social media with specific posts about communication specific posts about your signature message. For me, if you go to my Facebook, LinkedIn, X, Instagram, YouTube, 70% is communication skills. 60% is communication skills. 20% is the art of speaking, and 20% is all about my family and my life. That's the three things that I talk about all the time. My stories, my posts, my reels, it's all based on that. So get those assets and those tools and get going. For me, what I also did as I was pivoting, as I was trying to figure this out, I started to read everything that I could. So I had Brittany Hodak on the podcast. She's an incredible five-figure speaker. She's absolutely amazing. Wrote a great book called Creating Super Fans. She's next level speaker. Had her on the podcast. We've been getting to know each other. I asked if I could have 30 minutes, coaching calls. She said yes. First thing she said is you've got to read The Referable Speaker. So I bought this immediately. Like I was on the call with her, ordered it on Amazon, and I read this twice in a weekend. And if you go through my copy, it is highlighted, it is underlined. I'm in the process of putting it on the notes because I want to teach people what I learned from this book. And really, at the at the end of the day, the most important thing they teach you to do about your speaking is to make sure your signature message is so freaking good. I'm saying so good that the minute you walk off the stage, people are clapping or they're sitting there like, what just happened? Like that was transformational. And it's so good that you walk by the front row and you hear someone turn to the other person and go, oh my goodness, they would be perfect for our event. That's what you want to do. That's how good your signature message is. So what I'm doing in 2025 is I'm dedicating 5 hours a week to just working on my signature messages. I have four. One is a primary, secondary, third, fourth, obviously. But I'm just making sure I'm practicing. I'm working on those. I'm getting the words right. I'm getting the tone right. I'm getting the stories right. Do absolutely everything you can. Then my friend Ross Kimball, who is an incredible communicator, showupbetter.com. Check out his information. He's a great speaker coach. He's also an actor, comedian. He's a great speaker. He recommended me Krista Haberstock's book, Become a Bookable Speaker. I literally ordered this the second he recommended it. And again, over a weekend, I went through it. I mean, just powerful, like bam. Then another friend recommended to me The Wealthy Speaker, and I'm halfway through it, you can see. But Jane Atkinson, I hope you'll be on the podcast someday. Same thing with Krista. The invites are coming. But what I'm doing is I'm diving into the deep end. The same thing, the other thing that I did, power of a podcast, right? My friend Sebastian Rusk would be proud of me from Podcast Sucks. If you've been interested in starting a podcast, go to Sebastian's stuff. I'll put it all in the show notes. You've got to follow him because every speaker should have a podcast. Every speaker should have a podcast, because it's just another way for you to get your information out into the interwebs and for your potential clients to find you. But you've got to do this. So at the very beginning of this year of 2024, I did a series where I interviewed some of the best speakers on the planet, and we talked about the business of speaking. I did a 2-part episode with Josh Shipp. I mean, I'm telling you, he is one of the best communicators I've ever heard in my life. Top 5, 100%. Did an 2 episodes with Terry Weaver, again, my business coach, terryweaver.com, joshship.com. I did an episode with Sally Z. Sally is a phenomenal communicator. Did an episode with Brittany Richmond. I mean, again, phenomenal. She's a great speaker. She does lots of work for Grant Baldwin with the Speaker Lab. So I Harris the Third. I mean, this series was incredible. I'm gonna put it in the show notes. You've got to. These are just musts you got to listen to. But I dove into the deep end, learned everything I could, and then I just waited. I made sure I walked through the right doors. At the beginning of 2023, I was still thinking I would speak in schools. I did a few in 2023, but those cemented the fact that I know my new room. I know my new playground. And that's speaking for financial investors, financial advisors, financial professionals. I've done a deep dive at all of their conferences, all of their regional events. I'm learning all of the companies so I can connect and make relationships with those people. So that's how I shifted from chasing speaking engagements to creating opportunities. Again, my relationship with Dan. Dan has opened up tons of doors, and he's given me an opportunity to then provide. And so uh, if you want to be a professional speaker, especially one where the zeros at the end of the check keep growing, you've got to deliver. You've got to deliver. And that's where that practice comes in. That's where that coaching comes in. That's where that deliverability comes in. That's where that referability comes in. And so I just kept walking through those. National Speakers Association, who I'm not a member yet, but it's my goal in 2025 to become one, says that speakers who specialize earn 30% more than those who generalize. Speakers who specialize earn 30% more than those who generalize. That comes from the National Speaker Association. So I got my reality check. I niched down. I pivoted. I started to find my formula for my success. I read, studied, interviewed everybody that I could, made sure all my assets were coming together. And then 3, I will tell you this, I started to experience a breakthrough. And here are some key strategies for me that changed everything. I craft a signature talk that sells. It's got to solve a problem. I know we already talked about this a little bit, but you've got to write one that sells. And mine started out as my title was Healthy and Effective Communication Skills. Guess what? That didn't sell. Then I morphed it to Speak with Your Clients, not at them. That started to sell. Then I started having conversations with this Fortune 500 company that wanted to purchase my content. And they basically bought my time, bought my content, which basically takes a leader on a pathway to becoming a healthy and effective communicator. But we then partnered, and they've turned it into a presentation called the Client Communication Edge. And in 2025, I'm hoping to deliver it 20 times. I can't wait. But you gotta craft that signature talk. You gotta build relationships. You can't just talk about it. You can't just post stuff. You gotta build it. And here's the reality. Your big break doesn't come from one speaking engagement. It's the results of showing up over and over and over again. Let me say it again. Your big break does not come from just one speaking engagement. It is the result of showing up over and over and over. Is your messaging correct and pure and monumental and motivational and challenging and encouraging and inspiring on social media? Are you doing webinars that's teaching it? Are you writing a book, or have you written a book? Are you putting out reels? Do you have a podcast? Just keep showing up. Just keep showing up. And I'm about to tell you something right now that many speakers are going to disagree with me about. Many speakers, many leaders are going to disagree, but this is a philosophy that I've learned. Yes, it has bit me in the ass a few times, but I think it's gotten me to a place where you could put me on any stage, anywhere, anytime, and I can deliver, especially if I take the time to really pour into that talk. And here it is. Here's the strategy. Say yes. Too many people only want the gig that, this year I spoke for Truist Wealth's Elite Performance Summit. I mean, holy cow. This is 300 of their best financial advisors from across the United States, people who earn a lot of zeros. And I had to get on the stage and provide. And it's a massive stage, LEDs, lights, iMac, the whole deal. Sometimes speakers, we only want that, and we only say yes to that. I've been in rooms with 10 people this year. I was 15 people in Salt Lake City at the Salt Lake City Country Club in a boardroom, diving in with 15 of their best financial advisors. I was in a room in an upstairs office in downtown New York City. Well, actually, I was in Queens, and it was upstairs. We're crowded in there. Like, it does not matter. I am saying yes because I want the opportunity. I want the opportunity, and I want to be able to grow. And so you gotta get that breakthrough. Get the talk that is just so referable, and then say yes. And then for me, then I got on the road. So I hit the reality check. I pivoted in my business. I experienced the breakthrough. And then I just got on the road and I started to experience sustainable growth. And so, for me, I had to come up with a menu of my services. A lot of speakers email me, call me, text me, message me about this. How much do I charge? Again, your friends at the Speaker Lab, I get no referral money. I get nothing for referring them. They have information in Grant's book, The Successful Speaker. I know for me, uh, I knew what I was worth, and I knew that I understood my audience enough that if I priced myself too low, they would immediately not consider me because it wouldn't seem worth it enough. And then I knew I had to make sure I didn't price myself too high because I don't have for my audience, I don't have the financial, I don't have all the letters after my name. I don't have all the certifications. I don't have 30 years in the business. So I had to find the right road. And what I had to do then is I priced myself and I created a menu. And so over the course now I have a menu. And if you want to see it, email me, jason@speakwithpeople.com. Freely share that with you. But for me, it right on the first thing on my menu, it says, here's the problem that I solve. And then it goes through the different speaking experiences that I can provide. I can provide a virtual training where I'm on Zoom or I'm on Microsoft Teams and we're training their leaders. I can record a message and provide that so you can play it at your team meeting. Then at your in-person regional meetings, national conferences, sales meetings, in-house meetings, I also can provide a presentation or a seminar. That's typically, somewhere between 30 and 60. I can also provide a workshop, which then is somewhere between an hour and a half and 4 hours. And each of those are priced at a different level. And then lastly, I can provide a keynote a keynote speaking opportunity, which a keynote is it's a different deal. It's primarily dialogue. It's primarily, you got to get on stage and motivate these people, inspire them, and help them transform. The other stuff I do is a lot of dialogue. It's a lot of getting people talking. It's a lot of getting people moving. That's my menu. And each of those items has a different price. A virtual training is a different price than an in-person training. A presentation is different price than a keynote. So those are the things that I do. And so I make sure that I do that. Also, to experience this sustainable growth, I've come up with a pre, a during, and post strategy. And on January 6th, let me make sure I have that date absolutely correct. January 6th, I'm going to do a webinar, 12 p.m. Eastern Time, talking about this. I'm going to go into further detail about how you can grow a six-figure speaking business. And I'm gonna go into more detail about all of this kind of stuff. And I'm gonna walk through that plan with you because I want you to grow and succeed and learn. One of the things that's always bugged me is, yes, you could pay me to be your speaker coach. I have 3 packages, $300, $600, or $1,000 a month. And depending on which package, You get a different portion, you get a different part of me. But I never wanted to be the type of leader who only builds a relationship with someone if they think they're going to sign on to be a coach, if they think they're going to be, a client. I know I'm building relationships because I want to help transform the world. And so I'll freely give you my stuff. Just email me, jason@speakwithpeople.com. You can see my strategy, my pre, my during, my post. But sustainable growth comes from unreasonable hospitality. That's what happens if you've read Will Guidara's great book. So let me give you my last step to all of this. The last step is don't just do this on your own. Stop trying to go alone. Okay. There's a million speaker coaches out there. It's a million different, speaker. I've been following Impact 11 for a while. There's just a million different opportunities for you. But Speak with People, it's always been on our heart to help especially business leaders become business speakers, especially leaders who have the gift of communication, who want to develop a side hustle, who want to develop a business where they use their keynote speaking. So we want to help you. And so if you're serious about launching or scaling your speaking in 2025, here's a couple steps for you. One, if you're not a part of the speakers group, this is our free Facebook group. Like, go to Facebook, join the speakers group. You can go to speakwithpeople.com/resources. And right there, you can click the link to sign up. Boom, you're in. Two, on January 6th, I'm announcing a new membership community called the Speakers Community. And this is for people who, whether you are at point zero, you've been doing this for 20 years, whatever part you're at, if you want to experience new growth, if you want to scale your speaking business, you want to turn this from a dream to a side hustle, from a side hustle to a full-time gig, or you're just a business leader and you want to do a better job of selling your products. You want to pitch your presentations in a way that the room captivates. This is for you. This is for you. And the reality is, this speakers community, there is a monthly membership cost. We're going to announce that on January 6th. The price that I'm announcing on January 6th is going to be there till January 15th. It is going to be like a super low, what are you doing? But I want to offer that to you, especially to jump in on the ground floor so you can be a part of it. What it entails is a once a month mastermind Zoom training where we build a community together. We're going to be in this together. You're going to have a voice into your life. I'm going to bring in experts that I know. My business partner, Dennis, will speak into it. My other partner, Dan, my business coach, Terry. I'm actually doing some coaching with Terry and another great speaker, Cabrina. So we'll have different opportunities for you to join in on that as well. But you'll get that free training every single month. You'll get access to all of Speak with People's courses, all of our forms, all of our strategies, all of our, if you need prospecting emails, we have that stuff. If you need a speaker contract, we have that. If you need, we have all of that stuff. If you need to know how to develop a presentation, you have access to our presentation blueprint. You have all of that stuff. Then you have access to the community where people are going to give you coaching and critique. You have access to me. You'll be able to text me thoughts or questions. I'll be able to speak into your speaking, your business. And so we can't wait. And then lastly, we are going to introduce a speaker summit. And this will be people who are like, you are ready. It's going to be a couple days where we get into a hotel conference room together. We dive in. We make your signature message as great as it can be. We get you marketable. We give you all the tools you need to start prospecting and promoting yourself. This is going to be an exciting year. Here's what I know as a reality. And I'm being honest with you. Just because I had 6 figures in speaking sales does not mean I've made it. I haven't made it at all. To be extremely vulnerable and transparent, I'm sitting here at the end of the year, learned a giant lesson. I want to end the year with a whole lot more margin than I have right now. And it's put a giant amount of stress on myself, my business, my family. I'm not going to let that happen again. 2025 is going to be the year where we blow past 6 figures. We blow past just $100,000. We blow past $200,000. We're going to have an incredible year, and let's do it together. And so this was my journey, and I hope that this journey encourages you. I hope that this journey gets you excited for what you're going to experience. So, my friends, I am here for you. Let's do this together. Let's figure it out. So, go to the show notes. All the resources will be there. Join me for the free webinar, January 6th, 12 p.m. Eastern Time. I know those of you in California, you're going to have to be a little bit earlier. It's okay. I'm going to also pre-record it. It'll be on YouTube later. But let's do this together. Let's experience the best year we've ever had. And I can't wait to encourage you and to join you on the journey. All right, we'll see you in next week's Speak with People podcast episode. Thank you for listening to the Speak with People podcast, where we believe that healthy communication is the key to unlocking your leadership potential. Thank you for leaving a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and thank you for every like and every comment. Every single time you cut and copy a link and send it to a coworker or a friend, it absolutely means the world, and it helps each other transform our communication skills. Lastly, don't forget about a great resource that's available to you, our communication skills library. At the end of every episode, we ask each guest their favorite speaker, their favorite podcast, their favorite book, and we've compiled all of those resources together to give you an amazing library to continue your growth and development. Thank you again for being a listener, part of the Speak with People community.